Hello, everybody. Welcome to Daren After the Credits, number 35 or 1 or whatever you want to call this episode. Maybe this is like the whole Doctor Who effect where it's like
I was just thinking that we are now
but
Doctor
actually
Who.
1. This is your jumping on point. If you've never seen an episode of the show, here you go. It's perfect timing. No, like, okay, I feel like we got to do a little bit of housewarming before we get into today's episode, because 3 days ago I said, hey, we're done with this show, we're not doing any more for a while, we're taking a little bit of a break, and then well, my death has been overly exaggerated, as the meme would go, and we're back for another episode, just like we were last Monday. Welcome back on a new channel. First episode on this channel. First episode live in a while. I don't remember the last. I think it was like when X-Men first started. It was the last live episode we did of this.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah, no, I wanted, me and Dark were talking about the reasoning behind why I wanted to end it. Wanted to talk about that a little bit here. Kind of the end and short of it all. Making kind of some changes over on the main channel, wanting to do a lot of different kind of stuff, and I was realizing it's really hard to market a video podcast with the number of subs I had. It's hard to get people to like, hey, why don't you sit down and watch a whole video over it being a live stream? And with the live streams, I didn't want to overpopulate the pipeline, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take a break with the show for a little while and kind of see where I'm at with it. And like, my brain's also wired in a certain way where I have to mix things up every once in a while. Like I just have to, like, my brain can't do the same thing over and over and over again. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna take a little break. I love working with Darth. Darth's one of my favorite people to work with. Genuinely, I love talking about these shows every week. But I was like, maybe we'll take a little bit of break. And literally the day after I messaged him, the day after I'm like, all right, we're done, I got really sad because I was like, I love doing this show. I watched the final episode of Doctor Who, and I was like, the reason I like Doctor Who so much, and this goes for every show I think we've talked about this year, if it's X-Men, especially X-Men, or Invincible, or any of these live shows we've talked about in 2024, even 2020, late 2023. I mean, I have great memories with Loki and Gen V and all these shows. I think the reason I almost liked all of them even more was because I got to do the show and we got to go on that weekly journey with it and talk about it weekly. And there was almost a sadness with like The Boys, where it was like, oh, I don't get to have the journey we went on with Gen V, where we talked about it. We talked about every episode. So we're back. We're going to be trying this out. We're going to be uploading more on this channel. I'll be sharing it more over on the main channel once this is out, and once I can be like channel update over there as well. So, but Darth, how are you today? How's it going?
I'm doing good, thank you. I'm doing very good. Watched Doctor Who today, which was amazing. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm excited to see where all of this goes. And yeah, Doctor Who was another one where it's like, we talked about the whole season. We're just not going to talk about the final episode. That's kind of crazy. But we're changing up the formula as well. I obviously it's a different layout. I kind of like the idea of a more casual, also kind of conversation about each of these. They're all over here in the corner, and I kind of feel like at any point we can be like, hey, we can switch to this one or we can switch to this one. Just kind of, it's there. We can kind of have that kind of openness. I mean, as we kind of get started here, like, what out of these 4 shows this week did you have a favorite? Like, which one was like, this was the one I loved this week?
Okay, Acolyte for sure.
Okay. Then we can start with Acolyte.
Okay, but that being said, it is very, very close, right? Because the Boys episode was peak Boys. Absolute peak. Doctor Who, strong finish. My Adventures with Superman. I'm glad we had the discussion a few weeks ago about the Brainiac and what we're going to get.
Yeah.
Because we got prime Brainiac, or in my mind, like proto Brainiac.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that's where that guy's finishing. So, what about you? What was your favorite?
Man, you're right. It was a really good week in terms of these episodes. I think, like, The Boys have been really fun. I think probably The Boys. I think The Boys was really great, and that's just a testament to how much I love The Boys and what they're kind of doing over there. And it's been a really fun kind of culture shock with The Boys, because it feels like it, like, even with House of the Dragon, which I think on another day could be the biggest show on right now, it feels like The Boys is like dominating the pulp culture sphere. Like, that seems to be like the big show at the moment that everyone's talking about. I love how social media has kind of reacted to the season in universe and also out of universe. Like, I think it's been really fun to kind of see them be like, oh, hey, this Twitter account that's in the show, oh, it's actually on real life Twitter. Like, here it is. So that part's really funny too. Let's talk about the Acolyte first, though, because I have a lot less to say about that than you. And obviously, this was your favorite of the week. So what was your opinion on the Acolyte episode 4?
Absolutely loved it. Okay, this is the end of that was a trip where where we finish on the episode is where I thought we might be on episode 2, because I thought we might be only getting 6 episodes, so the fact we're getting 8, phenomenal. I just, oh my god, it just amped you up, and then the whole mystery of who May's master is. I'm very intrigued, and everyone's talking about the criticizing of the writing of the show, but it could actually be kind of perfect because, right, Jedi and Sith are and aren't black and white.
Yes.
Right? Just because you're not a Jedi doesn't mean you're a Sith. Sorry, yeah. So my friend just found a spider. Uh-oh.
Kill it.
Okay, everyone on the chairs. So yeah.
Over there, so
let me just arm myself with a shoe. Anyway, so there we are watching the Acolyte, and in episode 2 we have Jedi Master Soul fighting May, and he says you have misunderstood the Jedi arts. Right, the Sith aren't training and calling that the Jedi arts, right? So that's foreshadowing for this, for the revelation that we get in episode 4, Acolyte episode 4. Let me just say, is that Banastra says, "Oh, I don't need even a hologram can tell me that a Jedi has trained this person." Right?
Yeah.
So this could be completely separate from the rule of 2, completely separate to the normal Sith that we know. This could just be somebody. Somebody.
You need to go kill that spider. I can.
It's fine. It's okay. It's okay. 2 people on it. They're on job.
don't kill it on my shoes.
So there's. It could be that somebody was a Jedi. Right, trained on Coruscant the same way that May was, Osha was, right, and then they fell out with the Jedi, and instead of becoming a mechanic out in the Outer Rim, then they bleed their kyber crystal, like they don't like relinquish their lightsaber and quit. They bleed their kyber crystal, which is how we get a red lightsaber. Might even get a flashback to it, and then they could be like recruiting, And especially, even if they were like a Jedi turned bad guy, they would have the resources and the knowledge to know about Osha and May to manipulate them.
Yeah.
So there's like a whole bunch of stuff that's open. It's crazy good.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of having a really weird thing with the Acolyte, because like we stated when we all started this 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point, that like, not the biggest Star Wars guy, but I wanted to kind of give the show a start. I want to give it the a chance. I always like to give these Star Wars shows a chance. The chance of me finishing one of these shows are always very unlikely, because it's like, am I going to have enough patience to stick to the end with a show like this? It's been a really weird battle, because it's like, clearly there is an audience that is very much disliking the show for certain reasons, and I want to be like, well, screw you, man. And there's a lot of that I don't understand. There's a lot of the things that people are saying that I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like what are you spouting out right now? They're like, oh, they're doing this and this and this sucks because this person. I'm like, I don't know. I think that's fine, man. Like I don't have an issue with that. But at the same time, I'm also not. It's such a strong indifference to me. Like it's just something where I'm just like, I don't really personally care about what's going on. I'm not hugely invested. And again, I don't know how much of that is like the show itself, how much of that is Star Wars, because like I loved Mandalorian. Like that's generally one of my favorite shows. Love that show. Also, I didn't finish that, so I guess that doesn't even prove my point. But like I didn't finish Mando. And like but like I also didn't like oh my gosh.
Andor?
What? Andor. I thought Andor was terrific. I thought that show was very well made. Never finished it.
Yeah.
I made it like 8 episodes. Like it's just, it might just be that Star Wars thing for me. And I do want to like continue to watch it because as we go through these next couple weeks, like I do want to give my
I will be making sure. Don't you worry about that.
Notes. Yeah, I want to slowly like give you my little bits and like I think it's like I do think it's generally fine. Like I did. What was your thoughts on how they ended the episode? Because like I know that was an issue with many people with just how it like
really?
Cut off. Yeah, like I feel like
no.
Just kind of
that's like typical great TV where they're just like, right, here's the bit everybody's been waiting for, right? Because we've had introductory fighting, right?
Yeah.
We've had a tease of Jackie with the like a stick, not even a lightsaber, right? Her practicing like the flourishes, which I actually went back and watched the Obi-Wan fight versus Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, and he has like a similar little thing. So like he's using like core Jedi mechanics, which is great. And then like with Jedi Master Indara versus May, like a little bit there, mostly unarmed. Same with May versus Soul, right? So if that's how good they do unarmed combat, and they had to like most of what they were doing in preparation for this was behind the scenes. It was fighting, practicing fighting, and getting the choreography down. So honestly, I was there. I was like, dude, like Obi-Wan, right? Like, you know, like how we were saying Rogue One was used to explain the Death Star plans, right? Yeah. The Obi-Wan show was to give everybody the fight that they've been wanting this whole time. You know, when you have the original movie, right? And he's like, last time we fought, I was the learner and you were the master, you know, and all that, right? Like, yes, there was like a little bit of that in episode 3, but we knew that weren't it, you know? Yeah. So yeah, to get that, we got that. That was great. And then we get this, right?
Yeah.
Perfection. So basically, sorry, the point was at the end of Obi-Wan, right? They set that up. So they had the fight, right? That most of the fight was like a whole chunk of the episode, right? And then I was worried that because of this being a mystery, that all of the fighting that we would get would be short and interrupted. We wouldn't have like an epic battle, you know, like that we see in Star Wars Episode 3 between Obi-Wan and Anakin, you know. Yeah. But the fact that they cut it off where they did means that they can have a whole fight, right? Lose the fight, recuperate because they lost some of the red shirts. That's just how I'm seeing it. They brought red shirts because they don't want to lose the main guys. They can't lose the main guys yet. They need red shirts.
Yeah.
So they brought some red shirts along. They're going to get got. They're going to recuperate. They're going to discuss what's happening. And then, I don't know. Because when do you think they're going to, like, someone, my friend mentioned yesterday that the lightsaber whip. Like, do you think they're going to bring that out now or save that till the finale?
I don't know. That's fun. I mean, and that prospect is very exciting to me. That obviously that had a lot of controversy where like they're doing different kinds of lightsabers, which is like like when I first heard that, I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I didn't know that was a thing. Like I had no idea there was like whip lightsabers and stuff. It kind of gives like off like Flash, when like they would just have like, here's a speed nunchuck and like a boomerang or whatever. Like they would do these very outlandish things, and it seems like that's a thing from the book that people, or I think Legends, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing Legends
Yeah.
says. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of cool. I don't know. I'm excited to see that. I will say I was kind of disappointed that the Wookiee died. I was excited to see Wookiee action, but
Devastated. Devastated.
I was like,
Devastated.
damn it. That was
Absolutely.
the one thing I was kind of excited for.
But right, so this is the thing. He was the first live action Jedi Wookiee, but he won't be the last, because around this time there are supposed to be a couple. So
Gotcha.
another one could show up if they get a season 2.
Yeah,
For
fair
sure.
enough. There's more you could pull from, and stake of the story, you kind of have to kill him. Although I would have liked to have gotten to know him a little bit before that
Absolutely.
happened,
Absolutely. Yeah. I two things to say before we move on. Quote one, that I do like. Everybody's complaining that sometimes they're a bit too fast paced, but I think, as we've said before, I think they're avoiding tropes, right, and dragging things out too long. Like there was an instance where Osha was found with the body, right, and then she's like, "I didn't do it." He's like, "Yeah, no, I saw you. You're fine." You know what I mean? Like in other shows, that could have gone on for another episode and a half, if not longer.
Sure.
And then just dragged it out. But we just keep avoiding needless hurdles, and then we keep slowing down when we need to. And it needs added context and stuff.
Yeah.
And two is that something to think about when it comes to a Disney project and Star Wars, right? Is that think of it as DC's Crisis. Once Disney bought the stuff, right?
Sure.
Everything has the possibility of changing, okay? Yes, like there was a set of things that they left behind and a whole bunch of stuff that they took, but they still have those options. Everything is available for change to, to fit into the universe,
Yep.
So don't take everything so rigidly, right? I understand it's something that is beloved by everybody, but Star Wars is nearly 60 years old now, right?
That's crazy.
Like at least 50. It's nearly 50, right? At least nearly 50. So then it's nearly 50 years old, and it has had thousands upon thousands of contributors other than George Lucas, okay? And some of the stuff that people are holding on to wasn't even him. Some of the stuff, it is him, right? Either way, it's convoluted and a lot of the times contradictory, okay?
Yeah.
Which is why Disney said, right, we'll take this and this and this and this, but we'll leave that over there, okay? Yeah. So everybody needs to just relax.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this a little bit last week, but there's also the idea that just like change is hard for any fandom ever. Like this happens in literally everything. Any kind of things we're going to talk about here. Hey, Spider-Man, people hate when there's a new Spider-Man because Spider-Man is different, and we love that Spider-Man. And I think that's change. I think that's just in general, it's one of the hardest things to deal with. It's like, no, I love this thing. Why are you now doing it this way? And it's like, well, you have to change. Like that's how we move on. That's how life works. You have to evolve or you die. So I know, yeah, 100%. And it seems like this is a show, and one thing I really appreciate from it so far is, again, we've talked about this, but it's in a different era of Star Wars, and there's never been a series or movie, or there's probably comics and stuff like that, and whatever, but like they're approaching it in a new way, and they're introducing new kind of concepts and characters that I think if people give a chance, they might actually enjoy. So
absolutely.
I'm happy for the fans that are enjoying the show. Like it seems like the people who are enjoying the show are really loving it, and I think that's
loving it. I genuinely have a watch party of between 3 to 6 or 7 people.
That's amazing.
Week. Yeah,
that's great
because a lot of people are just loving it, and those aren't even Star Wars fans. Mm-hmm. And all of them, I should say, some of them are, some of them aren't. And one of them isn't even like a TV fan, but
Okay,
he's engaged. So
that's amazing. Love
yeah,
that.
great feedback.
Amazing. And yeah, I say, which one do we want to jump into next? I say, you know what? I'm feeling Superman. I'm feeling My Adventures with Superman. I feel like that's a nice
Okay.
way to jump in. I just watched this episode. I got home at 7. I watched it at like 7:40. So like I'm very fresh on it. Obviously
I
this is
watched it
episode.
today.
Oh yeah, okay. So both very fresh in our minds.
Yeah.
This was episode 6 of the season. Somehow with doing these episodes go so fast. Like it's always like, oh, we just started it. Oh no, we're 6 episodes in. This is the 5th week of it already. What was your thoughts on this week's episode of My Adventures with Superman?
Oh my god! Like we all knew it was coming, but how bad did you feel for Kara? I mean, Jesus Christ! I mean, again, we all knew the writing was on the wall.
Yeah,
you know. But I mad respect to her for how accepting and open she is that she said calling a robot daddy, you know. So props, right? But oh man, that rug pull was just twisted. Like the fact that he's been manipulating her to the point where and erasing her memory, you know. And it makes you wonder: is she the first to have done so, or is he responsible for the destruction of Krypton?
Yeah. No, it's I've honestly loved the work they've done with Kara this season. I think it's, I don't know, it feels so like reminiscent of storylines we've had in the past. We talked about this last week. It's very like reminiscent of Azad. It's very like reminiscent of characters like that. But I think adding I think they do such a good job of adding so many layers to her. Because it's like every couple minutes, it's a different version of the character. And I think that's because it literally is. Like, it's these different parts of her personality and memories, I think, fighting each other. Like, Kara seems to be a very energetic, a very happy, a very fun character. But then there's the brain that's been, I assume, controlled over all of these years, who's literally has been compressing all of this trauma. I assume at this point, dozens of worlds have been destroyed by her hands. And now she is like, compress that, being like, no, this is we're saving these worlds, we're helping them out. It's very like Invincible with their mindset of it being like, we are helping you, we are saving your world. She doesn't quite know what she's doing, and I think that makes a very fascinating version of the character.
How twisted is it that when she is causing all of that destruction, like in Krypton's name under his control, like the afterwards, he has to sit there and like just lie to her and go, yeah, by the way, we went and had ice cream. There was a utopia. Everybody was flying and reading books at the same time. It was just so nice. Not telling her that she's just laser beamed everybody, you know.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Dark. That's so dark.
It's very dark. Yeah. The like Thanagarians are like dead in this universe.
I know. And how interesting did they look? Honestly, they looked really, really cool. And that makes me think that Hawkman and Hawkgirl aren't on planet. We're going to get them later. And they're going to have like a whole hatred for Superman and Supergirl.
That would kind of make sense if like, can you imagine like an invasion? And they're like, your cousin freaking destroyed our planet, so we're going to take yours now. Like, that'd be a fantastic arc for a season. Like,
dude, think about this, right? So one of there was 3 planets that they were talking about, right? I couldn't quite hear it. I think one of them was called Helveta, one of them was called Euphorix, and I think one of them was obviously Thanagar, right?
Yes.
So like one of the people that was fighting Clark was a Green Lantern, obviously.
Yes.
Right? So at some point, they are going to be aware of what Kara has done. And she is going to have to be held accountable by the space police.
Yeah.
That has to be a storyline in like the next season or something.
That'd be fun. There's that really cool. I don't know if you've seen the like young or the like Justice League animated show, but there's that really cool episode early on where Green Lantern sent to court because they think he did a thing or whatever, and like that'd be a really fun type of episode if like Kara has to go to court for her war crimes against the universe or whatever. Like that'd
And plea that she was under control and
under
prove
duress.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's gonna be great. Also, just a quick aside, I love the fact that she has a little cubby hole and Jimmy is in it.
It's really cute.
That was adorable. That was so cute, and how red she got instantly. Honestly, it was hilarious. It's like the red of her laser beams. It was great.
Yeah, no, that's an I don't know. I think it's been a very interesting relationship that they've been building with those two. It's like, are you enjoying? I know we didn't get any of them actually this episode. It's all, through her like POV, and like there's that really cute moment where he's like, "Do you like it?" Like that's such a cute moment. But like, what's your thoughts on kind of them so far?
When it was just like, oh, this might happen, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, oh, they don't need to. Like I kind of got enough of that on Supergirl, but now that it's happening, I am loving it. I was very, very wrong. I was wrong. I'll say that. I was wrong. It's great. They are adorable together. And what you said before, I think how deep the psychological stuff went, with Kara, and how there might be different versions of her. I think how she's latching onto Jimmy might be a part of that, because he brings out the more relaxed and true side of her.
Sure.
That would lead to a deeper connection, especially with a victim, which she obviously is.
She is. Yeah, it's interesting because that's probably the first time she's had like actual human connection with someone, right? Like I assume obviously she's been interacting with a robot, with an android up, this super intelligent father figure to her, and she's had really, I would assume, up until this point, no actual thoughts of her own. There's been no one to like, and perhaps we haven't seen all these other things. Like perhaps there's maybe been people to try and change her mind or whatever. Like we haven't seen all these other adventures she's gone on to the planets. But I assume this is the first time just someone that like is like, wait, but why are you doing this? Like, wait, what is happening here? And I think like the scenes with her and Clark within this episode are very well done. I think they're very good to be like, but what is actually happening here? And it's just like, well, it was supposed to be. And I also assume this is the first time she's gone back to a planet that's been like destroyed, where it's like, oh, I thought they were good. I thought everything was okay. Why these things aren't lining up. So I think that's really fascinating. I absolutely love where they took this episode.
Do you know where I am? I want to talk a little bit about the interesting choices they're making with the difference in origin, right? But a little bit off of that, like not like because there's the origin and then there's the powers, right? Because the powers are real different with this Superman, and I think normally, I can't lie, I would be kind of the guy with a bug up his ass about it. But I think just because of the animation style and how different this is, I think I'm just fine with it. You know what I mean? Like he keeps popping out that super blue energy out of his mouth. I'm like, okay, you know, this is where we are. It's fine, you know. But what I find super interesting is Krypton itself, right? What's Brainiac's plan here? Because an empire needs people to live in it. You can't just have an empire of nothing. Tell that to the guy in the Doctor Who, right? We'll get to that. But yeah, like there's no minions or anything. It's like it's just you're a ruler of dust, literally here. You know, like what is your end game and why are you doing this? And the other part of that is like he has to have been the bad guy for the Kryptonians, right? Because if they had the expansive universe empire that they did, who was there to defeat them, right? Because Brainiac would have had Kara at least like either worry about them or try to seek revenge against them. If she already has done, like say for example, it was the Daxamites, right? Their neighbors, yeah. Then when she met Clark, she would have been there like, oh, you know, you can help me against the Daxamite Empire, or you could have helped me against the Daxamites if she had already done it. But there's no mention of it. So who wiped out your empire and where have they gone?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I am wondering like what his main goal is. Like, is it just like a lot? Like, because yeah, like in his mind he keeps saying, oh, like we're rebuilding it, we're fixing it or whatever. But I wonder if that is just a lie. Like if in alternate reality it's like, well, it's to take out like it, like I am the most powerful and everyone else is a threat to me, so I'm gonna take them out. How much of it is programming, and then how much of it is like a plan, right? How much of it is a super powered thing, whatever. I will say, like, I've been very excited for Michael to come in and play this villain. Like, again, I love him from Lost, love him from Arrow. Every role I see him in, I just have a blast with. And I knew, like, oh, Brainiac, he's gonna freaking kill Brainiac. He's gonna be so good. He always plays that like perfect villain, and he plays a really good villain here. Like he is very intimidating. He's very scary. I love that scene where he's just like beating Clark, and he's having a pretty rough season. Like I feel like the last season he was pretty much like winning all of his fights. He's doing a great job, and then he's dealing with the Lex stuff. He's getting beat there. He's dealing with he got his ass beat by Supergirl last episode. He got his beat butt by these holograms, which again was very cool. I love the world building that we've been doing this season. I think it's been phenomenal. Like Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, we got some Batman-esque characters in here. We got Steel in here. Like it feels like this nice balance because it doesn't necessarily feel like they're trying to build out a universe. Like it does feel like they're focused on Superman. Like I don't think we're going to be getting a Batman or I don't think we're doing any of that stuff. At least not right now. But it does feel like the world is so much bigger than it is. Like it's a Superman show, but also, hey, these do exist elsewhere, and you can imagine those being there. So I think they've been doing that really well.
How beautiful was the work with the Green Lantern that his power was also a part of his body?
That was cool. Yeah.
So cool. It was
like a version of Lantern I never saw before. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same.
Okay. You froze on me. Same. I was like, I don't know what happened.
I was just yeah, no, yeah, it happens every time one of us clicks onto another tab or something, weirdly.
Oh.
Yeah, my internet is a guy struggling like Spider-Man to pull ropes together to get connected. Like, come on, you can do it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because it was interesting because I feel like this is probably one of the first episodes that we haven't had Jimmy or Lois in an episode. Like I'm trying to think back to season 1. Have there ever been an episode where we didn't have them?
No.
Okay, so this was the first one.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like I did miss them, but I didn't.
Yeah.
How about you? Did you miss them?
No. I think the relationship of Clark and Kara is so strong here, and to me they do really feel like actual cousins. Like they kind of get this vibe of like they're butting heads and they don't necessarily like each other, but also they're cousins. So of course they like each other. Like they got that bond down, I think, really interestingly. And it feels like a dynamic that I haven't quite seen between Clark and Kara before. And I guess that's just to say I haven't necessarily seen a full on villain Kara before. I guess outside of like the Injustice stuff, if you count that. But like I love the like dynamic that they're painting, and I love it's not a black and white thing where like no, she's a villain. Well, it's like, well, yeah, she's doing bad things, like she's a mass murderer at this point, but like obviously she wants to do good, she wants to do better, she wants to be a good person. She just doesn't know how at the moment. She doesn't know, and I think by the I don't know, because like, where do we think we go from here? Because Clark is still in space. He's captured by Brainiac. Like, where do we go next episode? Like, I think next episode is actually a Jimmy episode, so maybe we focus a lot more on Jimmy and Lois next time. I don't know. Where do you think we go?
Yeah, because I was surprised as hell to see them just rocking up at the end in that ship. I was just like, what? Like, I know you got money, Jimmy, but come on. Like, but then obviously this would have been the work of the monkey and the gorilla, excuse me, and the robot relationship that we saw in season 1, which is great and a nice little callback. And I'm glad we get to see them again because I did like them. They were great little characters. Excuse me. But yeah, I don't know. Obviously, they're going to have to go and protect Earth. And then everybody's going to see that Superman's right. Superman's the good guy. Because he's going to protect everybody from the bad guys. And then Task Force X and Superman are going to have to team up with Kara to take on Brainiac. And, you know, Task Force X are obviously going to be used to deal with the robots, so that Clark and Kara can be busy fighting Brainiac himself, which they're going to definitely need to work together because he's so strong. But how do you feel about the people of Kandor and wherever they showed us on Krypton just flying about together? Yeah. Just casually flying about. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, that's interesting because typically they don't have powers. I didn't really think about that. Maybe it's technology that they're flying with. I don't know.
No, they have a yellow sun, right? So in season 1, they're rocking with a yellow sun that gets turned red and then explodes.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Right? So somebody did that to them. So this is what I mean. Like, somebody came and got them, and I'm dying to know who. Absolutely dying to know.
Yeah.
Like, they've taken everything about Superman's origin and kind of twisted it or put it on its head.
Yeah.
And I'm more intrigued now than ever. I'm not annoyed by it. I'm intrigued.
I agree. Yeah, and that's the thing I think makes it stand out a little bit, because it's like someone took like a box of a puzzle and they shook it around a little bit. Like, the pieces all still fit, but now it's out of order than it would have been previously, and I think that's cool. Like, it all, I think, in lines with the canon we're used to, but it feels like it's always done in such a fresh and original way. That's always a blast to see them do. So yeah, no, I'm excited to see kind of, because we got 4 left of the season. Actually feels like it's going to be lined up pretty well. Like, I can kind of imagine. And like, I was wondering when they were going to get to space, because there's like the main poster of the season is like Jimmy, Lois, Clark in these space suits, and then there's Kara there, and I was just like, I wonder when they're going to get there. Like, why are they in space? Like, how are they going to get there or whatever. I actually also really kind of live off topic. I love the scene of Clark not knowing he can breathe in space. That is so good. Like, why would he assume he could? Yeah, like, of course he wouldn't assume that. We never see him like, should I bring a spacesuit? Like, that's so funny. I love that. It's amazing.
Sorry, that was my fault.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. Yeah, no, I think that's kind of all I have for my adventures with Superman. Do you have anything? Because it was a very straightforward. Like, there wasn't a lot of like side stuff to talk about like we normally have.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I really, really enjoyed it and can't wait for next week.
Yeah, I think I could see this being one of my favorites of the show. I think I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah. It's a surprise because when you showed me the show again, I sat there and was like, maybe I might enjoy it. I don't know, you know. And now I'm loving it every week. I'm like, oh my god, just give me more of this mystery, you know. And even the Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor kind of type that we're getting, I'm happy with that as well. So I want to see all of it. Give me the whole journey.
Yep, I'm ready. That adventure, if you will. Um,
Ooh. Yeah.
Speaking of an adventure, I guess we can go into some Doctor Who, which was the season finale of Doctor Who, unless you count the Christmas special, but this kind of counts as the final of the season. And again, this was one of the main things I think that brought this back. I'm like, yeah, what I really want to talk about this final episode. We talked about the whole season, which went by really fast. It did not feel like we went through an entire season of Doctor Who in just these last couple weeks, but no, we're here at the end, episode 8. What do you think of the finale? Because I feel like this. I don't know. I feel like it's definitely a very interesting one.
I loved it. Can I also just say that the feeling we're both feeling happens every season. Every time it gets to the end, it's like, oh man, that was over quick, man.
Yeah.
Oh damn, you know. So it's great. That's how you know it was really good, because you're just dying for more of it.
Yeah. I had this weird moment where I'm like, oh man, there's no more Doctor Who, and I'm like, wait, yes there is. There's like thousands more of Doctor Who. I can just watch more.
Yeah,
just
genuinely,
go back.
yeah. I can get context.
You idiot.
I thought it was really good. As you saw, like, Doctor Who can be bottle episodes. It can be running through corridors by a papier-mâché thing with rubber gloves on it. You know, it can be wacky, but then it can also be like save its pennies away by doing those things, and then be really grand and have like a whole bunch of effects. And the fact that they managed to do the whole world in this one, right? So like, because they've done it before, but like say with like Martha and stuff like that, like with those episodes, like she was traveling the world and stuff, but it still felt like a little bit small, like because you could tell like I'm watching a BBC show, you know. But because of the advancements of effects and everything else, it felt bigger. This week felt bigger, you know, for it. So I'm really happy. I really loved it. The mystery was insane. It was insane. Oh my god! Wow.
Yeah, like let's honestly start there, because I think that was kind of my biggest, like, because I wasn't quite sure how I felt about like the reveal of the episode, because I feel like I have split feelings of it a little bit. Were you satisfied with how it kind of wrapped it all up, or did you crave a little bit more?
Both.
Okay,
right, both. Because I sat there and I was like, "That is amazing. That is hilarious. That is going to piss so many people off. That's going to be." Oh, good job, guys. Because it is genuinely layered, you know? Like, this season, there is layers to it. And there are, like, messages in it, you know? And then the fact that the message at the end was, like, literally, it was only so important because you made it so important. You know, it was amazing. I was like, oh my god.
It's interesting, because I got this mixed feeling, because like I do get there, and I do feel disappointed, because I was like, oh, we were like, all these theories. Is she like the granddaughter of the Doctor? Is she related to Santa Claus? Like, there's so many of these theories flowing around, and we spent the whole season doing that, and I do feel disappointed, like, oh man, I wanted something more out of that. But I think also that's the point. Like, I think the point is you're supposed to be disappointed, because they're disappointed. They're like, oh, it's not Santa Claus. It's not the Doctor. I'm not the son of this great lord. You know, all these things that we were thinking and theorizing. And, like, I did feel disappointed. But, like, I almost feel like that they knew that. Like, they wrote it in a way where they knew people would be back each week being like, who is she? Why does she have this thing or whatever? And it kind of led into a more like meta narrative into the episode. And, you know, I was even thinking about this like early on inside the day. I was like, okay, who could the mother have been that would have felt satisfying? Like, could there have been a like reveal that was made me be like, yes? Like, I feel like no new character would have done that for me. Like, I feel like it would have had to have been someone within the Doctor Who world already. Like, I feel like you have to be like
Okay.
be the Doctor or whatever. Like, I feel like it had to be something huge. I think it would have been so hard for them to live up to the hype that they had built for themselves.
That's very interesting. That is very interesting. Because I was gonna say, as not like as not to like pick apart the show, right? But it would be like it is fantastical that he like constantly keeps getting into all of these scrapes and meeting all of these like important people that are like fabrically tied to the universe and this and this and this, right? So the fact that it would have been like somebody random in like 2004, you know, like a year before he came back in 2005 as Eccleston, you know, it would have had so much. It would have had to have so much time filling in who she is, you know, and how it fit into the story. I think the payoff is better because then it got into the Doctor and like the stance he was taking, right?
Yeah.
Because when it was who was it? It wasn't him and Kate Lethbridge Stewart. It was him and Melanie, maybe like and somebody else. There was a few people. Like he's been like everywhere I go, I bring desolation, I bring devastation. You know, like he just thinks he's the harbinger of death, basically. You know, and then that's not the case because he meets the god of death. You know, whom he thought he triumphed over many moons ago. Obviously not. You know, so then he's like, okay, well then I am life. You know, you're going to make me step up and be that guy. That's who I'm going to be, you know? And it was such a triumph over the way he has felt and for so long, you know? I think it was a great moment.
I think that's a really heartbreaking moment when he had to like sacrifice the thing that he stands for, is that all life is valid, all life is important. And like there's that moment where like I defeated the monster and now I have to become one. It's like, oh my god, like what are you going to do? And I think like throughout this season especially I realized, oh, I love this character for that exact thing. He reminds me of like a Superman type character that like he just wants happiness. He wants people to, because it feels like he's never like looking to save the day. He's always just looking to like chill out somewhere. Like, you know, and it just kind of always finds him. So I love this idea that like I now have to do this. Like, and anyone else in a scenario, I think would have no problem with being like, yeah, that's a literal death. Like, yeah, like kick him off the elevator shaft or whatever. Like, I really would not have any problem with being like, yeah, screw you, buddy. Yeah, see ya. Like, I would have no issue. He literally murdered the entire universe. Like, everyone died. I would sleep like a baby kicking this man off a bridge, but he won't. This is going to cause him demons, and I think that's a special moment for him to be like, I have to do this. I have to put myself in this situation, which I think is cool.
Now that I think about it, though, I don't understand how killing him in the vortex or just dropping him in the vortex kills him if his claws were breaking the side of it. Okay, which that feels like it needs addressing. And like how that undoes all of the death he done.
Oh, I didn't get that either. It's like pulling him this way will bring everyone back, and I was like, does it? Is that how that works? Because it's not like they went through time, right? It's not like they reversed the effects. They were just like, hey, we're going to bring him through the other direction, touching everyone in its path. And I was like,
well, they weren't going through time. That's what the vortex was, right?
Okay, I guess.
But what they were explaining is that he was killing the universe or each planet at each fixed point that they landed at. So all throughout time, he was killing the universe, right? So, like he said he took him to his death, which would have been down the line, right? not that way, not backwards, right? So if he was going backwards, he wouldn't have taken him to his death, because that's paradoxical. So, like, what's happening here, And then, like, just because the guy's dead, it doesn't mean that his life didn't exist in the first place, even if he does die in the time vortex. So I don't know.
And he seems like I wonder if you don't kill him there. Like, he seems like a villain that you might want to bring back in the future. He seems like, and I'd actually be very, like, this is an episode I would love. I know you've seen a lot of Classic Who. Like, this seems like a big episode for Classic Who fans. Like, there are so many Easter eggs. There's so many things. Like, there's literally a part where they're showing footage of Tom Baker's run of Doctor Who, and I was like, oh, that's fun. Like that, and it was kind of this frustrating thing within the episode, because it feels like they are literally celebrating and catering to the Classic Who fans, the exact fans that are like, oh! You know what I mean? Like, it feels like this interesting paradox with it. Like, they are celebrating your run of the show. Like, they're doing that for you, and you have been giving them nothing all season. Like, that's frustrating a little bit. Not on the writers or anything, because that's amazing. But, like, for the fans, that's frustrating.
Yeah, no, absolutely. More to your point, that, like, the TARDIS that they were in, my mother actually pointed this out, is like an amalgamation of all the TARDISes and the Doctors.
Yes, yeah.
And their personalities all in one. So, again, chock full of stuff for
all reference. Yeah.
All the fans, And then the fact that you're sat there with, like, bugs up your butt, like, come on. Come on.
Yeah, like, that was the one thing where I'm like, yeah, I don't understand a lot of those references. I don't know whose whistle that is, but I bet a lot of fans are going to love that whistle. You know what I mean? Like, which is amazing. It's amazing. Okay, I do. My only issue with, not an issue, my only question with the Ruby thing, like, she's actually nobody. I didn't understand the snow. Why does she have snow powers? Why does snow just appear when she's there? That was the part where I'm like, I get,
and the singing, and the caroling. Where did that come from?
Yeah, I that confused me still. Like, it was like, okay, you're no one, and it's like in the power of, like, believing someone's important. Okay, I can buy that. I can 100% buy that. But with the snow? Who? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, right. And there's no way that Christmas is that powerful. Like, Christmas just ain't that powerful. No way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Christmas can save the day and whatnot. Come on.
Yeah.
No. Maybe it has something to do with the person, like, in the post credit, like in the afterwards, that was teased up for the Christmas episode.
Yeah. Maybe next season we can kind of circle back around and it'd be like, oh, this is whatever. But I have a feeling. Okay. Let's actually talk about that, because who do we think the neighbor is? Who do we think Miss whatever her face is? Because I don't know.
They called her the neighbor, like Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, her name's Miss something. I'm gonna look up her name really quickly. She
looked like a snowy angel, didn't she?
Yeah. I was even wondering if maybe, like, she's the granddaughter somehow. Like, if, like, because they were very heavily hitting on, like, we're going to maybe finish that storyline somewhat soon. Maybe not next season, the following seasons. But maybe not. Maybe they'll wait another 20 years. I have no idea. I feel like that wouldn't be the first time they wait. But yeah, no. I mean, apparently the Doctor gets in some kind of peril, which
is always the case. But then, like, whether she's talking about the Doctor as a whole character or just that incarnation.
Yeah, Miss Flood. Yeah. Mrs. Flood, I think is her name.
Okay. Interesting.
Huh.
Because as well, the Doctor it won't be somebody that just retires, I don't think.
No.
I don't think that's ever going to be his style.
Mm-mm.
So
yeah, I mean, I wonder. I actually do wonder, like, if the next one is a Christmas episode, maybe we do get answers. Like, maybe we spend that Christmas episode maybe uncovering what's been up with the Christmas stuff. she had like a very Christmassy look at the end there. She was like a little like ice princess or whatever. So maybe.
Do you think we're
I
gonna
don't know.
get a new companion, or we're gonna revisit Rose to get the answers?
Rose?
Ruby.
Ruby. Okay, I was like Rose. That'd be crazy. That'd be insane. I don't know, because typically they spend the Christmas episodes getting like a new companion, right? That's typical. That's often when they do it.
Or a one-off. Yeah, like Kylie Minogue.
Interesting. I don't know. I mean, I would assume that's probably where we do it. That seems like a nice place to do that. I mean, what was your thoughts on how we like exited Ruby? Because I mean, I was quite sad.
Honestly, yeah, very very sad, very sad. But very common for the Doctor. Honestly,
Sure.
very very common. Because he does it all the time. Usually, it ends in tragedy or in a forced goodbye.
Yeah.
But this was like a really nice one, and it wasn't like begrudging in any way. They just wanted more time with each other, but she knows that's not who the Doctor is. He doesn't do the day-to-day, the small stuff, unless absolutely forced to do so, like with Matt Smith. Yeah. And then she's got like her whole life, her whole story starting, as you said. So
yeah. I thought it was a really beautiful ending. Like, I absolutely I could have watched a couple seasons with Ruby. 100% could have. I think out of the companions I've seen, she's very high up. I've only seen like 3 at this point, but like out of the ones I've seen, I've really enjoyed Ruby a lot. And I think she has, again, we've talked about this on a lot of these. She has such a great like friendship with the Doctor that is so refreshing to see. But also you end the season and you're like, this does feel like the right moment for her to leave. Like, this feels like the perfect ending of her story. It doesn't feel like, because when it was announced, like way before the season even started, like a year ago, when they were like, all right, yeah, we're the season 2 will be a new companion list. I think it's 2 companions next time. And I was like, oh, I wonder what happened. I was like, oh, did she get canceled, or did she want to leave? Like, was there a controversy? And this was like, oh no, this was just her story. It was a season 1 story, and I think it's a really good story to have been told. Like, it does also, as much as I would have loved another season with her, it does feel like a very satisfying end, and also a very open end. Like, I feel like if they want to bring her back in the future, that feels like a door that is open for them. Maybe in a couple years after she spent time with her family, maybe she can come back for a season or a special or a Christmas thing or whatever it may be. So I think in terms of that, it worked out.
Did you notice?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just that, like, when the second he realized that like they're parting ways, how cold his body language was.
Yeah.
Just instantly, it was like, yeah, okay, we've changed now. So, I would half expect him to ask for the key back,
No, it's, oh my gosh, it's a heartbreaking moment. I mean, the Doctor's having a rough season. Like, he's cried every episode, which I actually love. Like, I like, Shooty has the acting chops, and I love. This don't sound bad, but I love seeing him cry because he's so good at scenes like that. And it's a very bittersweet moment because he's like, yeah, I know. Like, there's that moment where they both know they can't stay, and he wants to convince her to stay, and she wants to convince herself to stay, but they both know, like, this is what's happening. Like, even when she's like, oh no, wait, I can just give me a day and I'll and it's just like, no, girl, you have to go. You found your mother. They found your father. You're with your family again. This is where you're meant to be.
The fact that he was even going to talk her out of even talking to her mother because he didn't want her to go. Yeah. He was going to say, no, she looks fine. I'd leave it alone. I'd probably move on. She's like, no.
And you have to imagine he's probably so sad of losing people. He's probably just like, just one. Can one stick around for like 10 years. Can one
that'd
just
be
stay?
nice.
But that moment, I think, between her, like Ruby and her mom, was such a sweet moment. Like, that's such a fun way to do it, being like, so my name's Ruby, so say my name when you get my order. That's such a fun one. And you can tell her mom knew. Like, there was just there was this intuition in the air when she came in. Like, something about this girl. Like, there must have been a vibe, like a mother intuition in that building. That was such it's so sweet. And the family, I really appreciate the Ruby's adopted brother. Like, I forget her name, but like, I feel like it's such a trope being like, you weren't there all these years, you can't just come back, and you're like, that's such a trope in these movies and TV show. And there was none of that. It was just like, yeah, she's here now, and she's now part of our family, and we got tons of photos here. And it was such like a beautiful, like, accepting moment that I thought.
Yeah, a wonderfully warm welcome.
It was so sweet. So great.
Such a strong, sharp character.
Yeah.
I agree.
What was your opinion on like the main villain of this? Oh my gosh. Wait, I haven't pulled up.
Suket. Yeah, yes. I kept getting it backwards.
Which again is like a classic villain.
Really, really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that was me then. Really, really cool. I don't remember it from the Tom Baker one very well.
Okay.
So it was really just nice to see him, and then really hilarious that they accused him of cultural appropriation. Just really, really good. I felt bad for him in the end. I'm not gonna lie. The way he went out, I felt bad. Like, he killed all of the people in reality, and I still felt bad.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where I feel like I didn't need to have seen Classic to understand what was going on. Like, I think they did a good job at kind of introducing, and I think they did that relatively throughout the season. Like, I think they did it in a way where you're okay. Like, you're going to get more out of it if you've seen it. And it was really cool seeing Classic fans, the good ones, be like, oh my gosh, he's the villain that I love from the past, and he's back. And it makes me excited for one day maybe I can go back to some of those classic and be like, oh. And it seems like Tom Baker is one of the runs that people really love. Like, it seems like Tom Baker is a fan favorite among classic fans. So it's cool that, and also the woman was from her run, right? Was from the Tom Baker run?
Absolutely.
What's her name? Mel? Mel's from like the Tom Baker run, right?
If not Colin Baker.
Okay. Cool.
Or Colin Baker, yeah.
I mean, do you think there's any chance of like her sticking around? Like maybe her getting a little bit more? That'd be kind of fun.
Only because the way they're expanding the universe, I really think it's going to be like a whole unit thing. You know? Like,
yeah.
That system that they had set up with Kate Lethbridge Stewart and the robot and the super brain baby
kid,
you know,
yeah,
which was also a nice little callback to Space Babies, you know, like the whole series did very well in my opinion. I want more of it. I want really more of it. Also, I'm now understanding why the sonic screwdriver looks like a goddamn TiVo remote, and that is because not only like does it function as a Swiss Army knife, it is now physically a Swiss Army knife in the fact that there are like just ports for blood samples and other such things. So awesome,
amazing. As we kind of exit this kind of our Doctor Who segment here, what was your favorite episode from this batch of episodes? Because I think there's been a really good batch of episodes. I think
that is tough. That is tough. I want to say the mine one was really good. I love that one. No, yes, but I'm
boom, boom, the mine one. I
boom.
heard mime.
Yeah.
I was like mime. I was like, okay, mine. That makes more sense. Boom was really good though. Boom was great.
Maestro, yeah.
Maestro was good.
Maestro, absolutely. Boom. And 73 yards. That kept me guessing.
Yeah.
Right? I kept sitting there thinking, that has to be her, but how?
And I feel like they almost answered the question. Like they dabbled into it in this episode. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get answers. And I was like, but we really didn't. I didn't get the answers I wanted to. But maybe someday. I don't know. I think Maestro was really good. I thought Maestro was such a good episode. I thought Boom was a really good episode. I think Dot and Bubble might be my favorite episode just because of his performance. Like that's such a angering episode. I hate to say it's my favorite episode, but just his performance at the end is probably my favorite performance of the season. It was just like
because like
he's so good.
Because like the whole time, like now, like since you see the end, anytime I think about it, I'm just like mentally like jabbing her in the face, you know. So so it's like I was like, I don't want to give her the credit, but it's the actress. It's not the actress. Do you know what I mean? Obviously,
she's great. Yeah,
like she just does such a good job that I'm just like, God damn it, yeah. Oh, you suck. But again, she just does such a good job because obviously that's not who the person is. They are not magic people in a TV screen, you know. So yeah.
We can happily hate them. And I guess maybe potentially we'll be back in December when the special comes out. And in the meantime, I think I want to try and catch up on some Doctor Who, which I still got Tenet to watch. I got a season of Tenet left.
Oh.
I've been like these last couple weeks has been like I really am craving to get back into Doctor Who. So I might just do 2 episodes a week until December or whatever.
You are gonna once you finish Tennant, like keep going because you're gonna love Smith. He's great.
I'm excited for Smith as well. Like those are the two. Tennant and Smith are the ones I hear the most about, and I'm excited for them.
Honestly, like for me, like Tom Baker, obviously he's like in his own separate category.
Sure.
But like David Tennant and Matt Smith, right? Like David Tennant's just champion, always will be. And then like Matt Smith, but then this Doctor, like he's on par with Matt Smith for me. Like he's already done really, really well. And his speech was good, but it's not the speech that I'm looking for, right? Because there's just a point where the Doctor just loses all caring and just starts threatening people, right? And it's like he just starts throwing out all this wild stuff about how powerful he is and how old he is, how ancient he is, and then how much he just doesn't give a crap because all that matters is people and how much people need saving. And he is the powerful one, and he is the one that will do it, and no one's standing in his way, and this and this. It just gives you chills every goddamn time. So, like, that's like, I can't wait for that. I can't wait for his version of that.
I'm excited. Yeah, but I thought he did ever really like. I loved his scream in this episode. I know we're getting back into it, but like he realized the whole world is gone. He's just screaming his frustration out. Like I thought that he did great there. Amazing.
Yeah, imagine that you've been duped for 40 odd years.
That's wild.
Right, and let us not forget, his time machine is telepathic, right? It's slightly telepathic. It's got like a whole brain of its own.
Yeah.
You know? And still nothing. Nothing.
He was like, they were just like, this would be kind of funny, wouldn't it? If I just don't say nothing. Let me stay quiet.
Yeah. I'm amazing.
And our final thing to talk about today, we got The Boys, season 4, episode 4. Everyone's talking about it. This is some people's favorite episode of the entire show. I've heard a lot of high criticism for this or high praise for this episode. What was your opinion on this episode of The Boys?
Peak boys.
Yeah?
Peak boys. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just all of it was absolutely perfect. There wasn't a bit of it that I was against or sitting there thinking, oh, this is just dragging on, or like nothing. I was here for all of it, and I cannot wait for Thursday.
Yeah, I'm loving this season a lot, man. I'm really having a good time with this season, and I feel like, yeah, let's just start with Homelander, because I feel like they kind of got to start with him in terms of it, because I feel like that's the big stuff of this episode. Like, going into this episode, Eric Kripke is like, this man needs an Emmy. We've heard a lot of people are like, he steals the show. This is one of his best episodes, and it was a crazy one for sure. We see Homelander kind of go back to his roots a little bit, go back. And at first, like, in my mind, I was like, oh, he's going back to his childhood home. And then we go back here, it's like, oh, yeah, that was a lie. He didn't have a childhood home. He was born in a lab. He was born by scientists. And I'll say, I was kind of shocked that Homelander didn't do this sooner. Like, I'm shocked that this is his first time coming back here after all these years. I feel like he would have done that years and years ago. But what was your kind of opinion on, like, the Homelander aspect of this episode and what his journey throughout all this?
Oh, he's one of the reasons why it was so good. Like one of the main reasons, honestly. Like, everybody brought their A game, but Eric Kripke is right. Give the man an Emmy, honestly, because yes, he can do like psychotic. Yes, he can do bullying. Yes, he can do like megalomaniac. He can do like, I'm just not even hearing you and it's my reality kind of stuff. Like, he can do all of it. And we got like basically all of that in one episode. Like, all of the stuff that we have got where he's like, all the stuff in Vought Tower or on the plane or out in, I think it was Afghanistan, like all of the places that we've seen this guy be a bad guy, like, we saw all of it just on his face.
Yeah.
In that small room. And it was such a performance. Honestly, it was so good. Like all of the Homelanders that we saw in that goddamn mirror just kept like just shifting in. Like, he was like Willem goddamn Dafoe. And then like each one just kept like fighting for control, and it's just, oh my god, it was so good.
Yeah, it's very fascinating to see the like creation of the beast. It's like we've been dealing with Frankenstein all these years, but now, or I guess we've been working with Frankenstein's monster all these years, and now we're seeing Frankenstein being like, oh, this is where he came to be. And there's such an interesting moment at the end of the episode where they go like you could have left at any time. No one here had the capabilities to stop you. We trained you. We molded you like butter. Like, you had a need for approval, and like, it's like, yeah, that's always kind of been his thing. He always just wanted people to like you, and he's still in that trap to this day. He could right now destroy the earth. He could laser beam every person on earth, and no one can stop him. Right? That's the world that they've set up. But he won't, because then who will praise him? Who will give him the approval? And that's such a fascinating concept. Like, I want to see Homelander like go to therapy. Like, that'd be a fun episode. Just to be like, let's analyze your issues. Let's
he would need a room. He would need a room full of them, just because so many of them will be lasered for like just giving him an opinion that he didn't like. Next.
Yeah. Next one.
It goes so badly.
It's and it's one of those things where I'm like, clearly you're not justified for murdering an entire staff of people, and I feel like most of those people are like, it's interesting because I feel like most of those people are probably just doing a job. They probably cannot can they leave? Can they apparently, could they be like, this is fucked up, I'm leaving? Or would they not be able to do that, right? Is there like a thing where they, like who is there a responsibility for those people to be like, hey, this isn't
Okay.
right? Like, do they have that ability to be like, hey, this isn't cool, man, we should maybe stop experimenting on kids or whatever?
The question is, are like Vort's NDAs so airtight that anybody that quits that lab
Is dead.
they they don't send Black Noir over at nighttime, you know? So like obviously you don't want to die, right? But then I'm still not going to be taught. I'm still not going to be pressing the button and hurting the youngins, right?
Sure.
So I guess take me out back. I don't know. Like
and like even Ashley, I think, is in that spot. She clearly wants to leave, but like and then we've been saying for years, like, Ashley, just quit. But then it's like, but can she? Like, can she physically leave? Like, she has so much information, and yes, there's probably like NDAs, but like, would you chance her leaving and going to Disney and then telling any sort of person this information? You know what I mean? Like what would happen if she right now was like, I quit or whatever? So I don't know.
Plus, like, at what point, like, does you going to work with a competitor count as like insider trading and stuff? You know, like getting like insider knowledge and stuff like that. You know, so I don't know. There's layers to this. I feel bad for Ashley, and I'm wondering how much of her real hair is under that now. You know, because of her last season. Yeah. Feel really bad for us. It's like, oh, you poor girl. You poor girl. That's where you have control. So yeah, it's crazy, dude. Oh my god. The fact that, like you said, it's still ingrained in him, and the fact that, like, this is the thing, right? So she said that as like, I feel like I'm gonna like not be here in a minute, so I'm just gonna say it, you know. So it was like, no matter what you do, we still have this trump card, right? So middle finger, right? And then the fact that he left her in that room and didn't unalive her is just like, oh wow. Wow. You literally just hit that ball back over the court and now it's her move. Like, dude.
Yeah, I think his punishments in this episode were one of the more crazy things the show has done. Like I've had some friends being like, I don't know, the show's had some pretty crazy moments, and they have had fairly crazy moments. Or I guess I don't know what the word is, awkward, or I guess uncomfortable to watch moments. I think in this episode, I would say there's several like scenes in this episode where like I'm uncomfortable watching the scene.
It was
and
grisly.
One of those is the wanking scene, if you will, which is just like because like I've had the like comparisons to like the Blow A Train scene to this, like, which is the crazier scene. I'm like, I think this one, because he actually did this one, like he actually had to do this thing, and it's like we're in like the perspective of the other coworkers that just been like, oh my god, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, right. The thing is like you're dealing with Homelander, so you kind of feel like, well, I'm gonna get lasered anyway, right? So I'd just be like, can I not? And can we just get it over
anyway.
with? Yeah, right.
I'd just be like, you know what, man, fuck off. Like,
If anything, I would have charged at him, you know, because I know I'm going out. This is the way I can go out.
Badass. And you know, and actually, he might respect you for that. Like, he might be like, oh, okay. Like, there's that last season with Huey, when Huey stands up to him, he's like, oh, okay. Like, I wasn't expecting that. It's cool. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that might be your best option with someone like Homelander. But no, there's that scene. There's obviously the like the heater, the like oven scene, which it's so
Frank,
it's like, oh my god. But also like,
sorry,
go ahead. No,
do you know what's crazy about that scene, right? Is he did it to prove the point of, oh, I was in there with, you know, incredible heat with nothing scorching away, and you were there just throwing this, and I was watching you. So now you're going to watch me from inside the oven. Before he even threw it, the man's eyes burst. So he wasn't watching anything, So like, if anything, he just watched you out from inside there. So yeah, you lost a little bit of your point being a maniac.
No, it's crazy, and again, Anthony does a great job in that scene. He has this little like Joker moment where he just kind of he's lost his mind a little bit, and I'll be honest though, like I was a little underwhelmed, just a little bit, just because I heard like the biggest like things ever were like, this is the greatest one within the whole show, this is the best he's ever acted, he deserves an Emmy, all these amazing things, and like I don't know, I kind of don't think it's that much more impressive than what he does every other week though. Like just now people are like, oh, he's one of the greatest comic book villains of all time, and I'm like, I think he kind of always has been. Like I feel like he consistently gives this level of performance every week, and I feel like people are just saying that now because it's like, oh, he's like the Joker, he's going insane, but like he gives that performance, he's given that every single episode of the show. If he deserves it now, I think he always has. Like I think he's always given us that level of everything. Even the last episode, like him in the mirror, I think that's just as good, if not better, than this scene here. So
okay,
I think it's amazing. I think he does a great job. If he was nominated for an Emmy, I'd be like, sure, yeah, give it to him. He's consistently gave great content. Yeah, that'd be amazing. They don't think they would because superhero shows, they don't like giving that stuff to that kind of stuff, but it'd be cool if they could.
Especially because either the picture that they would like most have to use for reference would either be him covered in blood or like sniffing breast milk. So
yeah. What was your opinion? I think this is like the second biggest story of the episode was the Starlight stuff, and I guess there's actually a bunch of different storylines surrounding that. You have like the Starlight, you have the Firecracker, you have the Butcher, and like there's a bunch of kind of things colliding here. But what's your overall thoughts on this part of it?
So I'm not entirely sure what the Starlight Center does, right? I think it might have something to do with at-risk use, but there's also the fact that it might house addicts meetings, right? So I don't know. The fact that like Firecracker sat there going, they've got children in the basement, right? And then they're setting up outside, and then the first thing that comes out of Starlight and Mother's Milk mouths is, right, how do we get the kids out of here? It's just like, God damn it. Like, that did not need to be in there. That just shows that they're like, no, don't put that bit in there. But yeah, no, it was really, really good. And honestly, when Firecracker got set up by Sage, and oh my God, how much did I want to punch Firecracker in the face when she sat there talking to Sage? That was like, honestly, like Sage could have just smacked the shit out of her, so she should have done. But she went like a whole load big step better and got Starlight to do it, right? So then when she's handing her that stuff and she's like, this is your like ace in the hole, I genuinely thought that she was going to have security footage of her first day, right? With the deep moment in the room where the 7 is, where she gets assaulted, and then try and find a spin on that. But then that might also put the 7 in a bad light. So I didn't really like fully think it through. So then the fact that she came out with that bombshell, which was completely privileged, private information that nobody should be privy to other than their doctors that are involved, and Huey and Starlight, blanking on name at the moment.
Kamiko?
No, Starlight's other name,
Annie, right?
Annie, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, like that's their business, nobody else's, So the fact that like she broadcast that everywhere, and it's just like, oh, you savage.
What's so frustrating is that Starlight would 100% have the upper hand if she didn't go attack. They would have everything at the moment. Because not only did she out herself as a pedo, which is crazy that they're like, praise the Lord! And it's just like, no, let's take a moment. They're like, thank God. They're like, no, that's not how that works. You don't just say a magic word and it goes away. No.
Especially when your whole thing is they're keeping kids in the basement and your whole thing is getting in a Bible camp.
No, it was like they would have everything. Like, not only did she out herself as that, not only did she admit to stealing someone's medical records and files, that's illegal. That's gonna land you in jail. But you have all this stuff where you should be able to slaughter them, but that's not what the headlines are going to be. The headlines are now, oh, Starlight has hit an innocent person, right? Like she attacked blank, right? It kind of like paralleled, and I don't know if this was their point. It kind of reminded me of like the Will Smith and Chris Rock situation, where like I feel like under different circumstances it would have been like, oh, Chris Rock said this terrible, this weird thing. I'm not going to get my opinion on that whole situation. I don't want to get into that. But the headline isn't that he said that thing. It's no, Will Smith slapped him across the face at this public event. Like that's kind of like that's what all the articles are saying. So, and now it's just bad press on her. Like now she had a deal with Bobby from Supernatural. that whatever his name.
Bobby Singer.
Yes. Yeah, Bobby Singer. They had that deal and now that's kind of gone down the drain. And I'll say I think this is the most I've enjoyed Starlight as a character. Because I think because I think this is just giving her a different perspective. Like I think she was always the good one, right? Out of all the characters, like, oh yeah, that's the one that's doing the right thing and doing the she's on the straight and narrow. And I think that's great. I think we needed a character like her, but also I think in doing so, she often got undermined by all the bad characters, like she's always undermined by Butcher and like Mother's Milk and all these other characters that are slightly more interesting. And now I think you're putting her on a path where like, oh, she's maybe not always the best character. She's now making her own mistakes. She has a path that she's trying to redeem her from, and I think that makes her a more interesting character. I think she's been one of my favorites this season.
Yeah. That being said, like, how satisfying was it when Firecracker was there? Like,
amazing.
All bloodied up and shit. You just like, yeah, you deserve it. You goddamn deserve it.
I feel like everyone else would do that exact same thing, I feel. Like,
yeah.
I feel like you can spin it. Like, I feel like you can spin the story in your favor. After being like, hey, this is something very personal that happened to me. I went through trauma through this thing, and they exposed this thing, and you could say it's like self-defense. Like, I feel like you could spin this line that still makes Starlight look like the hero. But I don't know. I'll be curious to see kind of what direction they go, because it's not looking too good for her at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, just her being like a racist pedo should be enough of a spin. I mean,
it should.
And justification,
Yeah.
Like, God damn.
Admitting it on live TV is crazy to me. That's so crazy.
I know.
Too bad for the company because they spent $10,000 on that photo for nothing. I feel like, right? Like, give me $10,000 and I'll have the perfect whatever. Oh my gosh. Speaking of Butcher, it seems like he has the little black mold in his head is maybe a bit more than just a cancer. It seems like it's something a little bit more.
Right. So I thought that was just like maybe, I don't know, like a byproduct of the V. I didn't really think about it in the same way that everybody else has been. and that it might be
Oh, sure.
like their version of like
Venom.
Venom or whatever. Yeah, I didn't really think about that. In my head, I was kind of like, maybe he's just taken before. This is before the reveal that he took some of Frenchie's stash. I was kind of like, maybe he's taken enough of it that it might just alter his DNA anyway, and he might just be a soup at this point. Because when Ezekiel had him, I just kept expecting laser eyes to come out and for him to just chop those arms off.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. So maybe it is. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it hasn't settled on what his power is. Maybe he has got a Venom thing. It would be weird that it just keeps traveling around his body.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. And then, like, can it leave him? What happens if it leaves him? Is that what's killing him? If it leaves him, does he stop dying? Is that the cloud around his brain? Are they connected? You know, like, there's so many questions.
Yeah, I'm so fascinated with it. Like, I didn't pick up on like the Venom thing at first. I didn't understand what happened at first when he blacked out and everyone was dead. I was like, wait, what are we doing here? And it was a lot of people pointing out like maybe it's like a symbiote thing, and it would make sense. Like if Butcher dies, he dies, right? It's like a parasite that's just like inching off of all of his life force. And maybe we come to a point where it's like, I can use this newfound power to take down Homelander, or I can take it out and live. Like, I wonder if that's going to be an ultimatum at the end of the season or whatever. And I'm curious to see what direction it goes in, because obviously, unless these next 2 seasons take place within 2 seasons, right? Like the next 6 months is like 2 seasons, or we gotta fix that mold in his head because we got one more of these coming out.
Yeah, I thought there was a chance that either it was like Moon Knight and he kind of just blacked out and then went nuts, or like Victoria Newman or Cindy was nearby, and one of them just like exploded the guy, you know, and that he just passed out, you know, and was just very lucky. I don't know. I'm so excited. They need to answer that fast because they haven't got a bunch of episodes this season. It's like what, 8, 10?
Yeah, 8. We're halfway through. We're at the halfway point.
They need to answer it ASAP.
And next week's is our Gen V episode, right? We got our Gen V crew back, which I'm
about time.
I'm so excited.
I cannot wait.
I mean, we also got that Gen V like cameo in this episode as well, on the news station, just like the like conspiracy channel is just like, where did it go? I thought that was really funny.
The Guardian took a Dolgan. Oh my goodness! Like the poor picture they like. Marie cannot catch a break. Like the picture they decided to choose. Honestly, shocking. Like they just know how to spin everything to their advantage.
Yeah. Thoughts on? I guess we talked about it a little bit, but thoughts on the Sage stuff of the episode, because that was the other part of the episode that I couldn't. I had to skip a couple seconds of it because I could not watch the scene at the end when they're putting it in her eye. I was like, I can't do it. I cannot watch this.
I was waiting for that to be like a whole MacGuffin, you know, and it just turns out to just be like the trippiest goddamn thing ever. And it's like, no way, man. No way. But then if you think about it, it's like, what? That is kind of what you would have to want to do, you know? Like, everybody has their vices, and yours is literally making yourself stupider. like just taking away all your intelligence.
Yeah, I will admit when I'm wrong, because I said last week, I was like, no, I don't think that's it. I think she just is at like a long con with him. Like I thought it was like, all to mess with his head or whatever. Turns out, no, she just wanted to fuck him. She was dumb and she wanted to fuck him in that moment. And I was like, you know what? Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. Good for you, because I was real confused when she's like, I find you repulsive. I was like, no, I don't like the guy bangs octopuses, right?
Oh, I hate that guy so much, yeah.
But even then, like, he gets kicked so much when he's down. You know, like, and he's always at rock bottom, and he just keeps getting kicked into rock bottom. You just keep wanting some kind of a break for the man. You know?
Yeah. It's also funny, like, you literally had to make her stupid to even come close to being on the peak level. Like, that's the only way you could even come close, is she has to become stupid. And then she's still the superior person in this scenario, I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh,
By
it's so
far.
good. It's really funny. I wonder how far that's going to go. Where that's going to go, or it doesn't go anywhere. I don't know. We have the Huey stuff. I feel like just kind of speedrunning some of these other storylines. Huey stuff. I said last week I wasn't huge on the Huey stuff, but it's fine. It's whatever.
His mum put that in, right? Like, everybody's looking
Yeah.
around like a nurse did it. She did it.
Yeah. No, I think she swiped it. I think she might be a soup, actually. I'm wondering if, like, maybe she could, like, I don't know, like,
Okay.
grabbed it out of her pocket with her mind or whatever. Maybe she can see through things. She's like solid in his pocket. Like, oh, I'll take that. I don't know. But that's a suit now. I guess we'll see where that storyline leads. Any theories on that? I kind of don't care a lot about that storyline at the moment. I'm just kind of like going through it.
I kind of want one of them to be a teleporter, since he is. If they're both superpowered at this point, I want one of them to be a teleporter.
Sure.
Like,
oh,
so there's some kind of like hereditary thing to it, you know. So
Yeah.
like, if A Train had a kid, like, they'd all be super fast little dudes.
Sure. Yeah. A Train trying to help out. He helped Huey, which has been another one of my favorite parts. Like, I've enjoyed him. I feel like they've dabbled with that in the past, like him trying to do better. But this season, it feels like, oh, we're turning A Train, which I think is going to end in his death. I do not think A Train's making it out of the season alive. I think.
That's the thing. Like, if you start trying to draw a line, like, nobody, like, even some of them in the boys, nobody is redeemable.
No.
You know? So trying to turn somebody, what does that even look like?
No. I think he has to sacrifice himself or try to do the best thing. And I think Homelander kills him this season, which I think would be a really fun fight. Like, I want to see A Train, full confidence, fight Homelander. Because I don't think he'll win, but I think he could do better than people would give him credit for. Like, he's a speedster. Like, I think he could do damage if he wanted to. Especially if there's a plan behind it. If we get the boys' planning behind it, plus super speed, I think we could have a chance against Homelander. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I watched. There was a short somebody put up like yesterday, the day before, where it showed the box that the boys used to put the translucent his head in it. I think it is because he can't see through zinc.
Yeah.
And then in episode 3, when Huey's running through the air conditioning, he couldn't be seen because it's made out of zinc.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they really are like holding on to like everything and like making it make sense and stuff. So like, even like something like that could be used where they know his weaknesses, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be great. I like that a lot. I guess we got the Frenchie stuff, the Frenchie and his boyfriend storyline. That kind of just, I think it's like continuing on that trend. Like, that's a very heartbreaking scene. But I mean, are you liking that storyline? Because like, I wouldn't say I'm like super into it, but I also see what they're doing. I see kind of the direction they're going with it, and I have no issue with it. I just kind of also just there for me. Like, I'm not like incredibly into it.
Yeah. I got I was more into it. Like, now that the reveals happened, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, you know, like if that happened, and then yeah. Because
I could also. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, just to say that once it got to the strangling bit, as much as I'm like, I get it, like, that's where we're at. That's where we're like, okay, now we just cannot hang out anymore.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yep. Yeah, he's another character. Like, I'll place my predictions now. I think A Train and Frenchie die this season. I think they both bite the bullet. Like, it feels like that. I don't know. It feels like Frenchie's thing could be like so much filled with guilt that he pushes himself to the edge and maybe maybe sacrifices himself, or that leads to his, maybe his head's not in the game as much as it would have been. So I don't know. I could see both A-Train and him not making it. But we'll see.
Do you think if Frenchie dies, the Kamiko will leave to be with like her sister or whoever that is, from the Rising Sun?
Yeah.
Or whatever they're called.
Yeah, I don't know where we're taking. Like, that's another storyline where I'm kind of like, all right, they're doing something there. Like, I think Huey, Frenchie, and Kamiko are the three. I'm like, all right, that they're doing something there, and I bet it'll lead somewhere. Like, I'm kind of whatever at the moment. But I'm hoping for a moment where it all kind of comes full. Like, I think if I was to give a criticism, and this is something I didn't really pinpoint, like, this is something me and my friend were talking about, that I didn't really see myself, and then when they were saying it, I'm like, okay, I can understand this. I think this is the storyline. I think this is the season that feels the most disconnected. Like, it feels like we have this story. Like, we obviously have the main stuff with like Homelander and Butcher, but it feels like we have an A, B, C, D, C, storyline, and they don't all connect to one each other. And I think where in past season they would connect much better, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I am still overall enjoying the other arcs. It just, I feel like it doesn't feel as coherent as it maybe would in past seasons.
Yeah, they've given like more freedom to each person that needs it. And I like that. Because most of the time when there was a side plot, it was somebody like, oh, I got to lie and be over here, then I'm going to go over here. Yeah. Something goes wrong, and then I come back and tell everybody, or somebody comes and saves me, and then I tell the group what happened, kind of thing, or it comes back a few things later. Yeah, so I'm enjoying what they're doing, honestly. Yep. I do wonder about Kamiko, though, right? And how much you can like have her for seasons. Like, do you keep her around? Because at this point, she's just assumed muscle. You know what I mean? So you kind of like either take her out permanently, or like each fight you've either got to take her out really quickly, or she's the one winning the fight. Basically, she's gonna be like the last one standing, kind of thing. So like, can you lose the fear of like, oh, something can happen? You know what I mean? Because she's always the safety net.
Yeah, it feels like they're doing that more this season than they would have in past. Like, I don't remember a lot of the earlier stuff, so maybe that's just on me. But, like, it feels like this season they're doing a lot more. Oh, her arm's cut off. Oh, she fell out a window. Oh, her skull was cracked. They've done that at least 3 times so far. And each time is like, each time you feel the stakes a little less and less. Like, the first time when her arm gets cut off, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. I was like, oh, I forgot. Yeah, it's a little like Deadpool arm. Okay, whatever. And I think you're right. Each time the stakes get a little less and less. So it'll be interesting. Again, I don't know where that storyline's going.
Plus for the group as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the people they fight are soups, and it could just take one wrong punch, like in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right?
Sure.
But again, for the most part, if she's there, like the stakes for everybody else, I feel like are lowered as well, consistently. And how far can you take that with season 5, where like by the end of season 5 by the end of season 4 I'm not really worried about everybody else, because I know season 5 is going to be there, and Kamiko's there. Kamiko's in the room, it's going to be fine. Like, I'm less worried. So they're going to need to like deal with that or shock me.
Take her down a peg a little bit. Yeah. Like her lose a limb or whatever somehow, however that may be. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, maybe we do something with the virus, right? You can't kill her physically. Maybe we kill her, or we don't. I don't want them to kill her off. I can't.
No,
that.
I love having her there. But
maybe you give us a scare with the virus. We're like, oh my gosh, she could actually. This is the way we kill her. Is not physically, but chemically, I guess. So
yeah. Or just again, just send her off with like the family, or Because this is what she said, right? Wait, that's Star Wars. Yeah, I'm thinking of what Jackie said, where she said, "We're not what we've lost. You're what you survived." You know, and you survived a lot. And the same could be applied to her. She has lost a tremendous amount, including several limbs that have grown back, but she has survived a tremendous amount, and she could use that in like a council worker's kind of perspective, or somebody else's, and help people in her position. You know, especially like if she was, you know, like Black Panther was, right, or like out in the forest, you know, just helping people that are being like smuggled and trafficked and stuff, you know, like could do that, you know.
I don't
Loads
disagree.
of things.
Yeah. I'm again, we're at the halfway point. I'm curious to see where we kind of take the story, where we take some of these characters, because I think they've done a lot within this short amount of time so far. I'm really excited for our Gen V crew to pop back in, and man, probably my most anticipated episode of the season, because I love Gen V so much. I'm curious. They're with the 7, which makes me sad because I want them to be with the boys, but this is our villain group. This is kind of the team that turned at the end of last season, so I guess that makes sense that they would be with the 7. Also, though, sorry, go ahead.
It's Sam and what is it? Claire. I keep calling her Claire. Kate. Damn it! Kate. Every week I keep doing it. It's not Claire. I know it's not Claire. It's Kate. Right? Yeah. Thank you. I like Kate. She's great. She's awesome.
I mean, also, I don't think they'll do this, but like, there is one more spot at the 7. Like, how crazy would it be if we got like Kate in there or something? I doubt I would let that, but.
Either that mask is coming off of Black Noir and it is Sam, or like it has to be somebody. Like I need to know who that person is under that mask. Do you know what I mean? I need to know so bad. I'd love Sam to just put a fist through him and see what their power is. You know?
Oh, I mean, we said this in our Gen V thing. I think Kate could easily take down Homelander. She could take down the 7 by herself. I feel like she's so, unless Homelander's somehow immune, like there's no reason why she couldn't.
Oh no.
Kill yourself.
Yeah, no.
Or whatever.
Yeah, because he told her not to touch him, and she was like, okay. And like, so yeah, he knows what's up. He knows he got briefed. Do not let her touch you. And I gotta say, having Kate and Sister Sage together. Dangerous combination. Dangerous.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The 7's never been more powerful. I guess Vought has never been more powerful, if you will.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I can't wait to see the wrathful gods that Homelander wants to make them. What's that even going to look like? Oh my god, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be so dark.
I'm really excited for this back half. Yeah, I'm excited to see how we're like clearly setting up that final season and how we end things and how we just go through in these final couple. And yeah, I think that's where we're gonna be wrapping up this week's episode. We talked a lot of great shows. Finale of Doctor Who. I will miss you, Doctor Who. This was a lot of fun. A really fun journey. I'm really glad because I wasn't sure if we were going to cover this or not because I hadn't seen a lot of it. You hadn't seen a lot of the recent stuff, but it was really fun kind of jumping in, and hopefully by the time it comes back, I can be caught up with the modern Who or the last modern Who, if you will. That's my plan at least. But again, thank you, Daren, for being here. Thank you for putting up with my shenanigans over the last week, and
you're very welcome.
Thank you, Dark Chosen, for subscribing. I very much appreciate that. Anything you want to promo or shout out before we head out of here?
Just to come and check out the Fallible Fandom every Friday. Yeah,
absolutely.
Sometime in the evening. I don't know when it is. Around the world times.
Yep, I was there last Friday. I didn't contribute much, but it was a great episode. So go check it out if you want to hear more of his nerdy thoughts on all the things that he talks about over there. And yeah, I will. I no one's really watching right now, but Pipeline this Thursday, we're ranking Spider-Man movies over on my main channel. Excited for that. I should also say, we started it this week, and I love this. I want to hopefully continue over here, but I'm on vacation next week, so don't expect one next week.
Okay.
I will not be here next week, so that's going to just be how it goes, I guess. But yeah, without further ado, everybody, thank you for anyone who joined in or anyone who's watching after fact. I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye bye.